they were fishers. And Jesus said unto them, Come ye after me, and I will make you to become fishers of men. So fishing was very popular back in Capernaum, okay, in Galilee, the Sea of Galilee. That's how a lot of people made their living. That was a major industry. Verse 18 says, Straightway they forsook their nets and followed him. And when he had gone a little farther thence, he saw James the son of Zebedee and John his brother, who also were in the ship, mending their nets. And so they were also fishers, fishing. And so straightway he called them and left their father Zebedee in the ship with their hired servants and went after him. And they went into Capernaum, and straightway on the Sabbath day he entered into the synagogue and taught. Okay, in verse 22 he says, And they were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one that had authority, and not as the scribes. And there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Jesus of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee, who thou art, the Holy One of God. And Jesus rebuked him, saying, Hold thy peace, and come out of him. And when the unclean spirit had torn him and cried with a loud voice, he came out of him. And they were all amazed, insomuch that they questioned among themselves, saying, What thing is this? What new doctrine is this? For with authority commandeth he even the unclean spirits, and they did obey him. And immediately his fame spread abroad throughout all region round about Galilee. And so we go on, we see Peter's mother-in-law healed there in verses 29 to 31, and then demons cast out again. I don't take time to read all that right now, in verses 32 to 33, and then Jesus prays in verses 35. If we get time, we'll go into that tonight. If not, we'll go into it next week tonight. But the first question, or the first thing you see on the sheet there, it asks the question, who was one of your best teachers? Okay, and this is kind of an open discussion type deal, okay, on Wednesday nights. So, and then what made that teacher so good? Because it's talking about Jesus as a teacher, okay, here. And then they go into questioning his authority, okay, and what authority that he did. And that's kind of what we're going to go with tonight. So, anybody got any input on that? Who was one of your best teachers, and what made them so good to you? School or church, whatever it may be, you know. In your Sunday school class? That's great. That's good. A lot of people don't say that about some, you know, they'll go back and say, well, it was in school, but you'll never forget. There was a lady that my dad's church. She was like, she was an elderly lady, and she had gone through, and she taught that class for years and years and years. Even college students going out can remember her to this day about some of the things and how she impacted their life, you know, through Sunday school. Sometimes we take that for granted. But Sunday school teachers just teaching the Bible, but they're impacting children's lives, you know. So, anyway, that's good. So. Example. It's a good teacher. And you know, it don't have to be a teacher that teaches you in Sunday school or school, but it can be somebody that you that's a hero to you. You know, I guess mine was my dad, you know, my mom. What just by their life that they lived for Christ, you know. No matter what kind of good times, bad times, whatever it is, they did not depart from their faith, you know.
I had a third grade
brings up some, some thought process there. Who really impacted your life? As you went through life, and who was a good teacher? And what stood out about them? And so, several, teachers that I remember in school. I guess the best teachers that really made an impact on my life, and probably yours too, is those that really cared. Because you got teachers who all they were there for was to get a paycheck and teach you what you need to teach, but you had some that spent quality time with you, and you remember those that stuck out, coaches or whatever it may be, that helped impact your life. And so, anyway, as we get into this, that's kind of what I see about Jesus' ministry a little bit. Number 2 there, it says, why do you suppose Jesus started his public ministry in the synagogues? And so, synagogue was explain what a synagogue was. When we read about a synagogue in the Bible, understand that the temple was in Jerusalem. Okay, as they were in Galilee here, a lot of people would meet in a building or a home, and there would be about 40 families or so, and they would call that a synagogue. Okay, and usually if there was a visiting man in town or whatever, they would invite him in to speak in the synagogue. So that's what a synagogue there was. And so, bottom line, to answer that question, he started his public ministry in a synagogue because that was really the place that people met as a religious group, or to hear preachers or leaders or speak. Okay, and so it was you could call it a small church, I guess, if you want to go that far. But usually everybody would go to Jerusalem to the temple and call that church, So, anyway, back in those days. But it says, the next is, what 2 things was Jesus, in verses 22, verse 27, I'll let y'all kind of answer this. What 2 things about Jesus amazed the people more than anything? Yep. And what else? That's right. Verse 22 says, and they were astonished, or that word there means amazed, okay, or left in awe, okay, at his doctrine, for he taught them as one that had authority, okay. And then verse 27 goes down and he says that they were all amazed, once again, or astonished, insomuch that they questioned among themselves, saying, what thing is this? What new doctrine is this? For with authority commandeth he even the unclean spirits, and they did obey him, or do obey him. Okay? So they were astonished. And we can take something away from this tonight that, I know it's not a lesson, but here's the thing. That's why it's so important that we pray in the name of Jesus. Because with that name, all authority is given. And so, even the evil spirits, if you go on down to verse number why, they asked the question why there in number 2. What 2 things about Jesus? Well, number 1 is authority. They've never seen anybody come along and say, well, clean out the spirit out of a man. We'll get into that here in a minute. Or with the doctrine that he taught. Well, this was Jesus Christ. He knew the scripture. So with the doctrine that he taught, okay, and so they were amazed at that, because all they knew, this was the town and the place here was very poor people, okay, they were very poor people, very needy people, and so when you come in and I believe that Jesus showed compassion toward them. We're talking about teachers. He showed compassion towards them and let them know, hey, this is. You don't have to live by the strict law to go to heaven. This was the doctrine, and even some of the disciples had a problem with that, because all they had been taught was the doctrine of the law. Okay, but when Jesus came, some of them had a hard time understanding. Hey, this man has come to go to that cross, and this is going to be his. This is why he's here. This was his finish. He's coming to go to that cross, and when he goes to that cross, everything's going to be. There'll be no more bridge. far as obeying the laws to go to heaven or whatever you had to do, okay? But it was by them, through Jesus Christ. That was one of the doctrines he taught about what authority that he had. We'll look at that authority. Well, if somebody wants to look at that in Matthew 28:18. Turn there. We'll see about what authority, okay, before we go any further. So I'm going to read that. Yes, ma'am.
After Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
Okay. So what authority? All authority. All power is given to Jesus in heaven and earth. So that's why it's so important that, when we pray, we bind it in Jesus' name. Because he has all authority in heaven and earth. Okay? And so that's by what authority. And so if you take what authority, that really means they were amazed at the liberty that he had, okay, to speak, and the influence that he had. And here's a man filled with the Holy Spirit, okay, the Godhead, Jesus Christ. He spoke with authority, and because he knew the Scripture. If you go on down and it talks about Jesus cast out the evil spirit, we might get hung up on this just a little bit, okay? But verse 23, you'll see, and there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit. Okay? Notice there what it says, unclean spirit. Okay? And I want us to understand that a lot of times we talk about demons, things like that. Okay? And I know there's a big misconception, a lot of different opinions about that and everything. Especially, okay, the Bible says that God has made everything, right? Okay. We need to understand what evil spirits, demons, and things like that, where they come from. If God made everything, we've got to understand that when Satan was cast out of heaven, he took a third of his angels with him. And when a third of the angels came with him, they became evil spirits. They became, everything that was for God, they became against God. Okay? So, evil spirits, that were not created by Satan, but now they're used by Satan, okay, to tempt us, or whatever we are, unclean spirit. And understand this too. I mean, we talk about, there was a case of demons in the Bible that were confronted, but when you talk about demons, you talk about a lot of psychologists, they dismiss all accounts of demon possession as a primitive way to describe mental illness, okay, and things like that. I used to have my opinion of that. Today, in today's day and age, I see people more with some kind of disease. I don't think that's demon possession, okay? I just don't. But I do believe that demons can possess unsaved people, but not saved people, okay, in a way that they may not know. But yeah, you still got to be given into that, okay? Or it could be an evil spirit, let me put it that way, okay? Because that sounds more, but here's the thing, evil spirits can exist in Christians. They really can, okay? Evil spirits can, and so when you look at an unclean spirit, what would you call that? What would you describe an unclean spirit as? I mean, you can look at, if you got a bitter spirit, that could be an unclean spirit. If you got a, right, bitter, indifferent spirit. I mean, anything like that, it's unclean. And so when Jesus came in, he noticed it right away. And so, usually you can read somebody's face and see if they're down and out, or they're had a bad day, or they're tired, or whatever. But sometimes you can tell if they're bitter too. You know what I mean? Or they're mad, or whatever. All right. But that's an unclean spirit that sometimes we avoid, and we kind of try to put away. But watch what he says here. He says, when the unclean spirit had torn him and cried with a loud voice, he came out of him, and they were all amazed, so much that they questioned among themselves, saying, what thing is this? The new doctrine is this. They had never seen with this authority an unclean spirit could cast out. And let me tell you something about something like this. The first thing this guy did, the man with the unclean spirit, in verse 25, Jesus says, and Jesus rebuked him. Okay, you go back up to verse 24. When he's first seen the man, in verse 23, he said, the man with the unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, this is the unclean spirit. He said, let us alone. What have we to do with thee? Okay, thou Jesus. And a lot of people, sometimes when they've got so much bitterness or whatever it is eating up in the side of them, until they realize that Jesus is the only answer for that, they will act in that way. Okay, they will act in that manner of saying, I don't want to be. I'm happy the way I am. I mean, they get bitter. They don't know it's sin. You know what I'm saying? There's no knock on something. They just get that way, and it's ate their life up for the last 40 years, and that's the way they are. Okay, and so, and then they think, well, I'm good. I'm out with God until the Holy Spirit convicts them, and that's exactly what Jesus did here. You'll see. I know he goes in verse 25. He says that Jesus rebuked him. Okay. In other words, he called him out and said, look, you got an unclean spirit. And he says, hold thy peace, hold his peace, and come out of him. So was he talking to the person? No, he was talking, who was Jesus talking to? The spirit, the unclean spirit. And so what we've got to realize is that is a sort of a possession, okay? The unclean spirit. It's really sometimes not the people. I mean, look at all the people in the Bible. The man in the graveyard. Jesus, he was filled with so many demons. They call them legions, okay? And he cast all the legions out, and the man said, dressed like a normal man, when Jesus got done with him, And so sometimes the point I guess I'm trying to get at is sometimes, first of all, this unclean spirit was trying to keep Jesus out of this man's life, this person's life. Okay? And so that's what bitterness or any other thing we'll look at does. We cannot hear from God. We cannot hear from the Word of God if we've got all kinds of stuff built up in our heart about what He's trying to get through to us. And that's what I took away from these verses right here. If we've got a bunch of stuff built up in us to the point that it's running our life, it's so hard to get a clear communication from God. And so the best thing to do, we have to let that stuff go, and the only way to let it go is turn it over to Jesus. And Jesus, instead of like this man, don't say get away with this out. We have to admit where we're at. We have to admit, we've got bitterness, or we've got indifferent in our hearts, or stuff going on, jealousy, whatever it may be. Those are evil spirits, unclean spirits, if you want to look at them that way. Okay? So you can read more about that in Luke chapter 4, okay, 33 and 39. Okay? But there it says, what does it mean to teach with authority? We kind of already went over that. And I want to give you some reference showing a piece there that Leviticus 14. You can go there and read that chapter. It talks about some of the things about Jesus. It talks about a bird being caged up and anointed with oil. The oil represented the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. But we have to tie those two together. But we're going down. Says, what was the nature and source of Jesus' authority? Well, we read that a while ago. It's God. Okay, Matthew 28:18. None understand this. Only those who are under authority have the right to exercise it. Okay? They're under authority. Who was Jesus under authority of? The Word. The Word of God. And God. And so we see that. And so the question here, the personal question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much authority does Jesus have in your life? Somebody will turn to Matthew 6:33, and I'll kind of exploit that a little bit. So I'll read that, Matthew 6:33. Matthew 6:33, because it kind of goes along with this question, because we may not understand it. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you go to the doctor, and then I've got a heel sprain. Okay, I went to the doctor Monday. He pressed on it. He said, from a scale of 1 to 10, how does that hurt? I said, about 8. But anyway, I don't know what that means. So anyway, to him, I don't know, but it hurt. You know what I mean? But anyway, so from a scale of 1 to 10, how much authority does Jesus have in your life right now? That's kind of a personal question. Okay. Because I think sometimes we give him limited authority in our life. Is it our way or his way? Is it what God says or what I say? Is it what the Bible says? So if you go to Matthew 6:33, it kind of, somebody wants to read that.
Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you.
Right. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And I think that's what it's talking about. Are we really seeking him first? If that's it, a lot of people call him Lord, but is he Lord of all? Y'all understand that? So, that's a pretty blunt question to ask there. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much authority does Jesus have in your life? And so, and I think that's something that we got to say, okay, all about the Lord Jesus Christ. It's all about submitting to him, and then the next thing down here, it says, what would it have to cost you? What would you have to cast to rate a 10? Going back to the unclean spirit again, okay? What would you have to cast out to say, Jesus, you're a 10 in my life? Y'all don't have to answer that out loud, okay? You're good, Michelle. You're good. Thanks. But really, I think those are two important questions that we can take home, okay, with us. And I'm going to close. I've got to meet with somebody, so I'm going to close early tonight. We'll start the rest of this. We'll finish up, start with one meeting next Wednesday night, okay? But I'm going to close with this illustration and talk about what would you, if y'all get time, go ahead and read the rest of this and study it over. We'll go back over it and kind of do a follow-up. But what would you have to cast out to rate a 10? Give you this illustration. A man a while back came to me, talking to me about, he kept telling me, he said, Brother Aaron, he said, there's something going on. Well, he said, there's something I think I'm missing somewhere. So we went over to plan of salvation, did all that, and he said, I pray every night. He had a problem with some drinking and some other stuff that he was doing, and he said, Brother Aaron, I'm laying it all at Jesus' feet, but he said, it's just not departing from me. He said, I want to get rid of it so bad. So we talked and prayed together this morning for 2 or 3 weeks. He kept coming back and he said, every time I pray, I'm in my mind laying it down at Jesus' feet. And so I said, we just kept praying over it. A lot of things that he was struggling with in his own life. And he come back and I guess it was over a couple, 2 or 3 months. He come back, the last time he come back, and he got peace about everything. He says, he said, Brother Aaron, he said, I'm free. He come was laying everything else down but myself at the foot of that cross. And he said, like that, the light bulb popped on, that I'd never lay myself totally, fully down at the foot of the cross. I laid everything else down, but he said Jesus wouldn't take all that other stuff away until I laid myself down at the foot of the cross. So I thought I'd close with that illustration with that in mind. That's a good illustration because, until we lay ourselves down, it's kind of hard to lay everything else down too. And that's what, question we'll leave you with tonight. Where do you rate yourself from 1 to 10? And what would you have to cast out to be at a 10? Because that's where God wants us at. He wants us at a 10 for Him. I know we're not perfect. I know, but He wants us at our best for Him. He wants to help us get those unclean spirits, those things, and I know that's just kind of those things like that hinder us from hearing from Him what He wants. So I've talked to some people tonight, and so that's why I'm kind of cutting it short. We're going down, but we'll start on B. And so if y'all get a chance, read the rest of this chapter, study a little bit, okay? If y'all got any want input next Wednesday night or whatever, that would be great, okay? If there's any questions before close out, if y'all want to visit or whatever, I think they're going to have to practice. Okay? So, it's good to see everyone tonight, okay? And if you'll wait on your children, whatever, y'all can wait here. They'll be done at 8 o'clock. All right, let's go to Lord in prayer. Bob, would you dismiss us tonight?
Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for life and all the blessings of life you have for us. Father, I pray that what we have heard that we can apply to our lives, open our hearts and our minds to receive your word, Lord. Keep your hand upon us, lead us, guide us, and direct us always. In the name we pray.
Amen.
Yes, as long as I don't lose my voice. I'm at the fair every day this week. And got me serum allergies and already wearing me out. And if you need to know what it is, I'm singing Amazing Grace.
Are you singing it with the CD or with the plan? I can do either one.
Assuming I'm doing on CD.
I was just asking.
I don't know.
That's up to you.
That way we can practice with it, but I'm assuming I'm doing on CD. I have a CD already.
I was just trying to see which background I like.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Let's do this the right way. He's good. He's home. See, I don't have to do that. I do that to remind myself to do it. Because I can just click on it down here, but it takes up part of my screen. It's like on the song that has where it goes to the second line. It takes over. Alright, let me move this
Thank you, Miss Debbie. Hey, did you check on the other baby bed?
I have to remember.
Or
I don't.
what do you want me to do?
I don't.
I don't need this.
I don't know if the calendar, I think
Okay. I'm just gonna get all this right. Oh.
And then we all just share.
Okay.
We're going to drink milk. I'm not going to dinner, but I want pizza.
I want pizza.
Well, we'll just get our own. Hey, well, some meat, y'all know, that's a good soup.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You're getting salads and just all you don't. She's doing and I loved her and I could, I never loved her. You can't, she's still having special.
That's what my mom was like. You got apples, you got penny balls, you got there. Every family has it, right?
So where y'all from, Jesse? So that's cool. So you know this Butler probably. Do y'all kids go to I think at least she's second grade teacher. I'm thinking second grade.
No, actually, we have
Y'all do. Oh, okay. So Miss Butler probably, at least they probably know her.
She lives.
Unfortunately, we just never much sickness. Matter of fact, I'm still got that cream that I was like, I said, Bubba, I just don't know. He said, Mama, we're going to church. It's good that you have those.
We'll just never read it anybody.
Right.
I work in a daycare, so I constantly stay.
He worked for, what's her name? Who's that girl?
I work for Redwater.
Oh, we lived there for 7 years till we moved here 3 years ago, and I cried because I love it, and I still, I think I'm really good. But it's a very good city, you know, and I started working there because they let me through the doors, and I was like, now, Redwater, of course, Mr. Lusk at that time, he was like, just let her in the doors, she's not good anyway, she's crazy. And so I think for me, so into the superintendent, you know, I was like, let me through the doors and I go through there and talk to everybody. You know, and on Fridays they had like the patriotic songs and stuff. I would cry every time. I don't know why I did that to myself, but hearing all those 100 kids or whatever it was singing, and especially Lee Grigland, God bless you. I mean, I just took it. I said, don't even worry about it because you're going to be crying today. But I loved it. I was like a fixture up there. And then as we moved in, they were like, no, you ain't got to pass the song. I was like, my son is in second grade at that time. I said, I want him to say, no, Mama, I don't want you walking my class. Because he already said I was going to be able to walk into his door in college. Y'all can't be telling me that. They put it and I said, type an application for anything. I work for the state, I was talking about Chicago, but I was like, I don't care. I want in there, but the cafeteria, she said, you got the job. I said, I can't come for an interview because I'm at Baker's Most Pittsburgh. She's like, no, you got the job. Because we dealt with her, of course, I wrote it on her account every month, and then I say, Miss Kay, $20 extra in the account when you call or whatever you do. And she'd be like, okay, but she knew she could trust me because I mean, even with their account, she knew I was hard work because we have long runs here and I'm a rancher. But I was like, I don't care. I'm going to be keeping my foot in that door. So they had and my mom said, until I got my first phone, I did all that. In other words, I talked to her and I feel that way.
I work at a daycare right now, but I was telling him, I was like, that's what I'd like to do. I like it. He could be a teacher's assistant or something like that. Because I love to stay home long. Me take 11 years. I was for 11 years.
they're 2 years old now. Cooking, washing dishes. That's what we knew the value of a dollar. That's changed to us. Yes, ma'am. And those were and
I got you.
this is
We just see them on special occasions. Y'all all get
let that I'm not sitting in the office like I have all my life. I'm working. I mean, it's still like maybe huge, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he
That's so sweet.
Yes, Mr. Wilson. Everything good. I think your teachers want to.
Yeah, we tried to carve it
What do what you got? Yeah, I thought I heard somebody on
Cindy said, what you got, we got home from Jones Brush.
Yeah, something or we make them think that it's there on you. Yeah, we're talking about that.
And on Friday, she texted me, says, Bill and I are on the way to
I know he's kind of the supervisor at his work. He drives an 18-wheeler tow
to
truck.
spend the weekend with Chelsea.
I admire that. I mean, really, I couldn't even.
They don't do
I mean, I feel like.
You don't know anything about
Yeah,
it.
I said,
But I was not there for the whole truck. He sold every one of
It's like a 18-wheeler with a trailer, and then you have the tow truck. I'm like, I mean, there's too many tires for me.
Now, we would go down today and pick up, some catalogs. She'd been trying to get down there for a week, or one of them bring them out to us. But they're small, and they're getting too bright, you know, of course, he's selling the bigger ones. But the long ones are fixing to come out, never late this time, because they got all that rain. I got some beauty. Thermal underwear. Her boyfriend, her fiance, he says, I've got a clear pair of.
And that's my daughter. All of her friends like
And that's what he wears. He
live with her.
even though I said they were 75, it's still.
We've been the last 2 Sundays.
Well, it's okay, you know, all his clothes on. They're warm now, but it's warm. Have all this air conditioning that we're, they're cutting up, freezing.
Exactly.
I get busy when I'm doing that down those steps next one. You say